Hello everybody. How are you doing? I hope you're doing great. Here is Olga with the weekly horoscope for the upcoming week. I hope you are doing great, and I thank you. I thank those who are here, who follow me. That means that you find the information that I deliver useful, instructive, interesting, and consistent. And I really hope, I sincerely hope that it will be one more time helpful and useful, that you will apply it to your everyday life, and that this information will help you to resolve your everyday short-term goals. Okay, it will help you to plan in the most efficient way your week. Okay, I have a lot of information for you because there are a lot of aspects that occur, a lot of transit aspects that take place, that occur the next week. So we will talk about the end of the month of May and the beginning of the month of June. So I will cover the week of the from Monday 29th of May until Sunday the 4th of June 2017. Well, we remember that the last week, last Thursday, May 25th, we lived the new moon in Gemini, and actually the first week of the lunar month, the first quarter of the lunar month, is always a very constructive, very important phase of the lunar month, because during these days, the first 7 days, we start to implement concrete efforts and actions, if you want to achieve the goal that we fixed for ourselves during the new moon. So normally the first, and the concentration of the energy will touch its apogee, of course, in 2 weeks after the new moon, on the day of the full moon. So normally these first 7 days after the full moon should be, we should normally feel, the increasing energy, and that gives us hope and motivation. But what will happen on Monday, actually May 29th, this very difficult aspect that we will leave, the confrontation of the opposition, Mars, Saturn. It will be one of the most difficult aspects of the month, because in any aspect with Saturn, difficult aspect, the square or the opposition, even also conjunctions, okay, with other planets. It's not easy. It's never easy. So this aspect spoils a little bit the energies of the first week of the lunar month. This opposition, Mars-Saturn, will be, however, nevertheless softened and smoothed out by the couple of, not only one, more than one harmonious aspects of other planets that will occur just after the opposition Mars-Saturn, offering us opportunities of constructive solutions in the end. This is a good news. In the case when we have, the alternance, the mixture of, when difficult aspect is followed by positive aspects, it's always a time when problems actually can become opportunities, but only under one condition: if we don't allow our emotions to have control on us, and if we are more flexible, and if we evaluate the facts soberly. I will talk in details about these aspects in a while. I just wanted to mention a couple of more things in general about the upcoming week. Is that the end of May and the beginning of June is the time of new romantic acquaintances, encounters, unusual adventures. This is because of conjunction Venus-Uranus. I'm anticipating a little bit. The time of original creative ideas, non-standard solutions in business and in partnership relationships. Also, friendships and professional collaborations can transform into romantic relationships. This is very interesting as a particularity of the week. Love stories can be extremely exciting, but once again, only if we have common interests with the partner, and also if we want them to last, these love relationships. It will be necessary to give a certain level of freedom to the partner. This will be the condition. This is the influence of Uranus. I will talk about it in a while. Okay, now. So, May 29th, Mars in Gemini in the position to Saturn in Sagittarius. The period of its impact, of its activity, of the impact is May 24th, immediately after the new moon, right? June 2nd. During these days, we can face obstacles and troubles, first of all, in business, well, in different spheres, but in business especially. Our personal initiatives, because Mars symbolizes personal initiative, energy, action, okay, physical strength, force, our initiative can be blocked, in one word, blocked, the symbolism of Saturn, by what? Circumstances, by the will of other people or the actions of other people, by all sorts of restrictions and various prohibitions, especially coming from official bodies. There may be conflicts with authorities, official institutions, and in this case, of course, when in the situation when we feel that whatever we do encounters a blockage, like there's a wall, okay, of course, in this case, emotions such as anger and irritation can flare up faster than usually, so it is better to keep emotions under control. There is nothing to do here. We just have to wait. It will not last for more than 5 days. This aspect we have to survive. Those who have a lot of fire element, a lot of planets in fire and air sign in their charts, these people are normally not patient at all, me included. So I hate these aspects involving Saturn transit aspects. Since Mars symbolizes, I just said before, energy, real energy, action, personal initiative, this will be the period of increased injuries. So we need to dose physical activities, and especially to avoid, we should avoid engaging ourselves in extreme sports. Otherwise, there will be a danger of, break something when we hurt ourselves. So these days, and especially from May 27, 29, the days close to the exact aspect, we should be particularly careful while driving when we use different mechanisms, like, these pricking objects, cutting objects, something sharp, knives, different sharp tools, cutting tools. Once again, as I always say, transits affect all of us in a different measure and a different way. And here each time we have to consider the degree of the sign where the aspect occurs. We have Mars in Gemini in the 25th degree, so those who have in their chart planets and the angles, ascendant, descendant, MC, IC, in from the 24th to the 26th degree of Gemini, where is Mars, of Sagittarius, of course, where we will have Saturn, transit Saturn, also in the same degree, from 24th to 26th of Pisces and Virgo in their chart. Of course, you will be more sensitive to this transit. Why not only Gemini and Sagittarius? Because if you have planets and all the angles in the same degree, in the mentioned degrees of Pisces or / and Virgo, the transit will activate your planets also, because it will this transit, the position Mars Saturn, will activate, will complete the T-square opposition, and then 2 squares towards your planet. Okay, this also works for the trines, before the big trine I will talk about later. Now, I received recently a question in your comments. I have to prepare a video actually where I answer your questions. A person asked me, what about if, she said, what about if I have a lunar node in the degree of the sign where the transit occurs, the transit aspect occurs. For example, what about if you have a lunar node in the 25th degree of Gemini or of Sagittarius? What happens? The 10 planets of the solar system describe each of them describe certain facet of your personality. It's about astropsychology, emotional state, reactions, unconscious, the past life experience, the moon, intellectual capacities, well, the way you communicate, okay, Mercury, the vision of love and money, Venus, etc. So this is something material, this is real, this is on the surface, astropsychology. This is the behavior that we can notice when we observe the person, how she reacts emotionally, intellectually how she is with partners. So of course that's why in this case the transit towards real planets of the solar system, towards real celestial bodies, will provoke certain physical events, physical states, like the transit moon will affect your moon, or transit Mars will affect your moon, so your emotional state will change according to the transit aspect. Fictitious points such as the lunar node, the southern and the northern, and also white moon Selene and the black moon Lilith, these are fictitious points. They don't describe astropsychological particularities, traits of character. This is the block of karmic astrology. The transits of the fictitious points towards your fictitious points in the chart, as well as the transits of the real planets towards still the fictitious points of your chart, don't create events. They don't affect your real physical behavior in this physical world. These transits don't have impact on your emotional, intellectual state, and on the situation of your love relationship, etc. Of course, we have to trace the transits of the lunar nodes and Lilith. Of course, I don't say that we don't have to pay attention to them, but they will symbolize something different. These transits, they will mark the certain stages, phases, cycles in the context of the analysis of your karmic program. But they will not create or provoke, what we say, determine, real events in the real life. So forget about the transits that at least I describe, if they form, especially of course, conjunctions with your fictitious points of your chart. Well, I will stop here as far as this subject is concerned. Next time in another video. So if we get back to our opposition Mars-Saturn, the situation is not as dramatic as that, because just almost immediately after this aspect, we have the a set of, one after another, set of other very harmonious and powerful aspects that will not, of course, cancel, but a little bit balance this difficult transit. And especially the conjunction Venus and Uranus which will occur on June 3rd, will help a lot, this opposition Mars-Saturn, because the conjunction Uranus-Venus gives an opportunity to find a successful solution to problems, provoking a sudden favorable turn of events. But I will talk about it in a while on this aspect. Let's continue, upon my plan. The last 2 days of May 31st, we have two very harmonious, positive, constructive aspects. First of all, Mars in Gemini in sextile with Uranus in Aries, 60 degrees, active from May 24th to June 4th. So actually the same time, the same days as the opposition Mars-Saturn. That's why I say that not everything's not so as bad as it could look. And the second aspect, Mercury in Taurus in trine with the Pluto in Capricorn, the same duration, the same period of impact, May 27, June 2nd. Mars in sextile with Uranus defines a very good period for asserting independence in professional activity if you work for somebody, as well as for asserting independence of our own business or projects if we work on our own, if we have our own company, our own business. This is an aspect of an unexpected luck, but in the case of trine 120 degrees, when things happen, themselves without the participation, the initiative of the person just, sees, of course, positive things happening, and there's like no merit. She doesn't deserve the luck, It's a lucky aspect, the trine. In the case of sextile, what is expected from the person, the native, is the minimal, the least effort, something like It's better than trine because if a person has too many trines in her chart, she becomes too lazy. Like everything happens in spite of her efforts. Now, in the case of the sextile, we must do some effort to attract the desirable events and circumstances. So, in the case of sextile Mars-Uranus, we were able to see considerable progress in our affairs, but thanks to our ingenuity, initiative, flexibility, and the ability to move away from old conservative patterns, which is the symbol of Uranus, to give up to old conservative patterns. It's a good time to communicate with friends, and actually thanks to friendly connections we could receive new interesting offers or opportunities. Once again, the symbolism of Uranus, it's friendship, because it's the ruler of Aquarius, the sign of Aquarius. It will be a good time to communicate with friends, and actually not only with friends, but with the public organizations and groups representing certain common interests, as well as the participation in what will be beneficial, the participation in collective projects, because once again, the symbol of Uranus, groups of people united by similar common interests, goals, and projects. I said it. The day of the exact aspect, Mars sextile Uranus, will be the time of the promotion of innovative, revolutionary ideas and projects. In any case, sextile Mars-Uranus calls for freer comparative degree, self-realization, for freer experience, freer experience anyway, something that is freer. Experiments and in entrepreneurial activity. So we should not miss this moment. If we feel the creative breakthrough, if you see it, almost happening, we have just to dare, because When we have the sextile as a transit, it will help us only in the case if we dare. If we don't do what is expected from us by the situation, it will be difficult to, you know, to see the event happening. We have to dare, we have to provoke in the case of the sextile, okay? So the same day, another gorgeous aspect. Mercury in Taurus in trine with the Pluto in Capricorn. Aspect the trine in 2 earth signs. Yes, I said from May 27th until June 2nd, we will feel the impact of the aspect. The energy of this trine strengthens the concentration of attention, wakes up intuition and perspicacity, contributes to an intense involvement in the topic, and helps to deeply understand the object, the notion, the issue, the problem, to get to the core, to the essence of things. That's why it's a good moment, the trine Mercury Pluto, for solving complex intellectual problems, for research and investigation of secretive information, secret like detective, for spies, for important discoveries also, because Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, so yeah, we would like to dig to discover secrets and secrets of others. It will be not surprising if some of us receive secretive information from somebody, if somebody shared with us secret information, or if we hear unusual news. So since Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, on this aspect involving Pluto, issues of the distribution of common profit or any profit, of the distribution of taxes and insurances, insurance and also heritage, like, you know, the subjects, the theme of Scorpio. These issues can be solved with the success. The moon will also offer gorgeous, just like, I don't know what other word to use, gorgeous actual aspects. It's waxing, okay? It will be in Leo. During the day, in the evening, it will pass to Virgo. Imagine it creates trine to Saturn, Sagittarius, yeah. Trine to Venus, at the same time to Uranus, because Venus is in conjunction with Uranus, and sextile with Mars. So it draws a big trine. Moon, Sagittarius, Moon, Saturn, and Venus with Uranus. Big trine, extraordinary background aspect of the big trine. So this will be an awesome day for love, recreation, entertainment, and all kind of pleasant communications and exchanges and conversations. So we have to take advantage of this day of the what was the day of the week? Wednesday, the 31st of May, the last week of May. All right, now on the 1st of June, Venus forms a trine 120 degrees with the Saturn, Venus in Aries, trine Saturn in Sagittarius. During this transit, thanks to Saturn, of course, feelings obey the reason. So normally erroneous emotional reactions are almost excluded. How this transit will influence our business affairs and love affairs, because Venus symbolizes money and love, so we have to look at these two main fields, major, not the main, but major fields of our life. In business, during trine Venus Saturn, we could assess soberly and maturely financial problems, if they exist, showing the capacity for serious work and discipline, the symbols of some Saturn. The days are favorable for visits to official institutions, for seeking understanding and financial support, we will be strong enough to take more responsibilities and even maybe additional obligations, obligations towards somebody, responsibilities towards somebody. Why not towards ourselves? In love. In our behavior in love, there will be a tendency towards rather calm attitude and towards the respect of moral principles, such as, of course, loyalty and faithfulness towards the partner. That's why it's a good day for, the day of the exact aspect especially, a good day for the beginning of long-term commitments, unions, collaborations, especially with older people, the symbols of Saturn, engagements, marriages, family celebrations will be also, it will be a good day to organize something of one of these events. In one word, the motto of this day is moderation and the sense of duty. What will do our moon on the 1st of June? What about the actual aspects of the moon? The moon is waxing. And it will be in Virgo, opposition to Neptune, square to the Sun, so T square. Even though in the evening it forms trine to Pluto. But during the day, because of this T square, we will feel sentimentality, emotionally speaking, the lack of practicality and pragmatism. For men, the deceit can come from women, nervous, emotionally unhealthy environment can prevent constructive business communication, provoking quarrels and disagreements because of trifles. Not an easy emotional day because of this T-square involving the moon. In the evening, trine to Pluto will strengthen strong-willed qualities, and this aspect, trine moon Pluto, will wake determination, which will help finally, at the end of the day, to move forward to our goals and to solve problems. What kind of problems? Spoiled relationships, like maybe spoiled during the day before, or days before, or during this day, just before the aspect moon trine Pluto. And we also will be able to calm down domestic conflicts. Yes, June 2nd. Waxing moon in Virgo has two contradictory aspects, trine with Mercury and square to Mars. This day, on one side, on one hand, common sense and practicality will help us to establish various contacts, but we won't be able to avoid fuss and nervousness, and especially in the evening on the square moon Mars, and when the moon will enter Libra, emotional instability and impulsiveness, irritability will be, the keywords of our emotional state. But it passes quickly, so we know that the actual transits of the moon, they don't last the entire day. Okay, what else? Yes, conjunction Venus-Uranus in the 27th degree of Aries. Look at your chart. If you have planets in this degree of Aries, and if you have angles, ascendant, descendant, MCIC in this degree of Aries, the transit, conjunction Venus-Uranus, brings, first of all, brings updates to old relationships, and also it brings new unexpected ties or connections. The world of feelings and passion lives a renewal. I won't say update, but renewal, I think is the word that will suit better. During this transit, we strive for emotional freedom and independence, for experiments in art, in love, and in business. Eccentricity and the rejection of acknowledged views on financial relationships, if you can say financial issues, and on sexual relationships also are underlined, by this transit. For love life, since Venus symbolizes love, first of all, this conjunction is a powerful sexual stimulant which inclines to flirting and adventure. Get ready. Friendships can develop into sexual relationships. And it could be even surprising for some of us because of Uranus. Yes, Uranus likes to surprise us. In its negative manifestations, the aspect can give unexpected losses, experiments on the level of adventures when we want at any cost to play with the fire. We should be afraid of manifestations of irresponsibility, of empty promises from our partner toward us, and of course from us toward our partner. Conjunction Venus-Uranus in business can bring unexpected benefits, one-off payment, something we didn't expect. Suddenly we receive, the total amount in one shot. The emergence of new financial and social opportunities also are possible. The day is favorable for the purchase of office equipment, for the modernization of production. In the negative manifestation, the aspect can bring unforeseen, often unjustified or extravagant spendings, because Venus symbolizes money also. Another gorgeous aspect of the week. On June 3rd, the Sun in Gemini forms trine to Jupiter. Sun in Gemini, trine to Jupiter in Libra. And also, there will be a moment when the Moon will come up to Jupiter, will form a conjunction with Jupiter. So the Sun will form also trine to the Moon in Libra, which will be in conjunction with the Jupiter. During this aspect, we could realize our need of expansion in the social sphere, since the transit is favorable for social realizations and social relationships, for negotiations with the authorities or with the high-level social workers, the symbol of which is symbol of Jupiter, of course. Why not to fix the date of a marriage this day? Also, financial transactions and legal acts. This is the date for doing that also. Work with financial transactions, major financial transactions, and legal acts. In career and business, it will be realistic this day to receive the support of employees and business partners, the appreciation of superiors and high rankers. Because of the symbolism of Jupiter, it will be a good moment for self-education, for professional development. Business trips, responsible speeches and negotiations will have a lot of success. Commercial contacts with the foreign citizens and companies will be practically particularly beneficial, of course. We can get quite a noticeable profit on this transit. The possibility, or in other words, the occasion to control or manage big amounts of money. However, we must avoid overspendings of the budget if you talk about our own wallet or the budget of the family or of the company, because the tendency of large spendings will increase on this aspect. In family and private life, trine Sun Jupiter defines a very favorable period for solving personal and family problems. In any case, any trine, especially with Jupiter, helps solving problems. Many of us will feel a kind of lift, generosity towards the partner or the husband or wife, and towards the family members. It could be it could be not bad to use this transit for engagement, even marriage, as well for family gatherings and different group and family celebrations. And of course, these days, the search for romantic and sexual partners is intensified. Do not overdo with pleasures. Overeating and excessive consumption of alcohol these days, more than ever, will adversely affect our liver and heart. Also, another interesting moment that in the beginning, it's not excluded to see the beginning of a love relationship with a foreigner, you know, somebody who represents the foreign culture for you, or during a long distant trip. Yeah, why not? Once again here, who will be more sensitive, receptive towards this, to this transit? Those who have in their chart planets or and angles in the 12th to the 14th degree of Gemini, where we will have the Sun, of Libra, where we will have the Jupiter, and of Aquarius. Because this trine will activate, if you have planet in Aquarius, will activate your planet by forming, you know, the big trine. June 4th, the last aspect of the week, June 4th. The Sun in Gemini in square to Neptune in Pisces, square 90 degrees. Well, for business and career, these days, like, you know, plus minus 3 days around, if you talk about, you know, before and after the exact aspect, these days are difficult because they can be full of errors and mistakes. Many of us may lack a realistic perception of reality because of the Neptune, of course. So there is a risk of making a lot of mistakes and making wrong steps. Problems can arise because of the tendency to self-deception. When we believe in something that we imagine ourselves, and if we avoid responsibilities, there will be tendency to avoid responsibilities that can create problems. Other keywords of this aspect of this transit: distraction, too much alcohol, and too much entertainment, gambling. All these can contribute to losses or to misunderstandings in different spheres of our life. We should also be aware of deceit and dishonesty towards us. It's not this aspect can influence our own behavior, of course, but the behavior of other people towards us. Square Sun Neptune in family and love relationships can make us feel the chaos of thoughts and feelings. There may be a temptation to deceive the partner, to lie to the husband, to the wife, to other family members, to even to the children. That's why don't be surprised if someone behaves the same way, the way that I described towards us. The word alcohol was pronounced many times today. Passivity, our consumption of alcohol, desire for sexual excesses will affect negatively our relationships. We also risk to be victims of our own illusions. That's why the romantic relationships, new, okay, not existing, I talk about something new that will start these days, despite of the of apparent harmony, can unfortunately bring disappointment in the future later. Nevertheless, during this transit, what is possible is the beginning of a secret love story. Once again, who will be sensitive to this transit? Those who have in their birth chart the angles, the planets and the angles in the 13th to the 15th degree of Gemini, where will be the Sun, Pisces, where will be the Neptune, of course Sagittarius and Virgo, big cross. Not just T-square, but the big cross. Yes, this is it. I think this is all for today. Thank you for your attention. I'm doing my best. I read all your comments. Don't worry. And I hope I'm improving. In you know, it's not easy to prepare to prepare the analysis of the transit. That yes, of course, that I read, but this is what I prepared, and I do it also in 3 languages, on another source, in Russian and French. So thank you for your attention, and have a wonderful, marvelous, awesome week, and talk to you very soon the next week. Goodbye.